Hello, everybody. I'm sorry about the delay. I was again live in my other um, profile. So here I am. Welcome, everybody. It's Friday, Friday morning, and I'm so excited to get this session started with you. The reason why I have decided to actually host a little bit of a masterclass here for you guys in this group comes from a little bit of my own struggles lately with being consistent in my own healthy habits, kind of like slacking in terms of really making sure that I am seeing this health journey as something positive, and not letting my emotions take over, which we'll talk a little bit about in a little bit. And also from the work that I do inside my group program, where I see on a daily basis or weekly basis when I connect with my beautiful ladies in my um, group program slash one-on-one program, that sometimes we are the mountain that we're having to conquer. It's almost like we are self-sabotaging our success. We know all of the things that we need to do when it comes to lifestyle changes and nutrition changes and habit changes and all of these things, but we're not doing them. And we're not doing them because they feel as if they are another chore. They feel as if they are another responsibility that we now have to take care of in order for us to feel better. And it becomes increasingly overwhelming, frustrating. And so we're almost like stepping back. We're like crawling back into this shell of comfort that we're feeling, staying inside, kind of like staying stuck in the space that we are in, not because we want to feel stuck. And in fact, we actually want to break free. We want to get unstuck from our symptoms, but we are subconsciously feeling safer in this space of, or more familiar in this space of stuckness versus stepping out and just starting to do things a little bit differently. So that is why this session today is all about two things. It's number one, it's about mindset, perspective changes. And number two, it's about tangible habit creation, how to go about it. And so I think those two things are very much intertwined with our health outcome. And the purpose for me in this group for you is to help you get unstuck, to help you move forward on your health journey, step by step, a little bit at a time. And I'm doing that because on my own health journey that started many years ago, I really struggled with these concepts. And really, I wish that I would have had somebody who could walk me through these steps a little bit more in a strategic way. So number one, that I would felt heard, understood, but then also given some ideas and tangible steps where so I can move in the right direction. It's really important for me to make sure that everybody in this group feels heard, understood, and is starting to move in the right direction. Okay. This session, again, is a mindset session. It's not something that I am officially trained in. I'm going to give you the heads up on that. Um, it is something. I'm just going to go in my Facebook group. I just want to make sure that I'm live in the right space right now. Yes. Okay. Um, So, again, this session comes from my own personal experience. It comes from my experience working with women on their journey. It comes from doing a lot of mindset work and habit creation work for myself. And then I really want to share this information, the ideas, the concepts, and also the steps that really helped me move out of my Hashimoto's inflammation. Share that with you so that you have steps and maybe some concept changes, some perspective changes available that you can use for yourself. Okay, so this is something that comes from my heart and comes from my experience. It does not come from textbooks or what I have learned in nutrition school. So I just wanted to give you the heads up there. Okay, so take it or leave it, but I think it's really helpful for a lot of us in the same space because we are experiencing so many similar symptoms and difficulties and obstacles on this journey with Hashimoto's. So, let's get started. I want to welcome everybody. I do have some worksheets available for you guys. So, if you want to, after the session, if you want to have those worksheets, please reach out to me or reach out to Janelle. So Janelle Pavey in this group, she's always your community success advisor. So if you need any resources or anything, you can always reach out to Janelle. She's always here for you, as well as myself. Okay. So you can always do that. I do have worksheets. Let me know if you want them after the session. There's two announcements I want to make before I go ahead and we get started with this workshop or the masterclass. First announcement is that in the month of August, I have one spot available in my Hashimoto's Fatigue Solution. So my Hashimoto's Fatigue Solution is the group program that I just mentioned. It's a hybrid group one-on-one program in which you work as a group towards your health goals in a strategic set way with my help. So you have specific action steps that you're taking on a weekly basis. You're being guided by me, and we are connecting on a weekly basis in order to help you implement these steps so that you can step out of fatigue, so that you can step out of digestive issues, all of the root cause inflammatory triggers that keep you stuck in a level of inflammation. So we have one spot left for an August start, so you can start any day with us until the fall. So if you ever wanted to take this further, if you are ready to take the next step, reach out to us, either Janelle or myself, and we can give you more details. The second announcement I want to make is that I actually have created a autoimmune nutrition membership, which is such an amazing tool for so many women who have taken advantage of it because it is a really low cost investment that gives you so much value in terms of steps that you can take for you to step out of inflammation. Every month is created fresh and new with topics around current issues that you might be having. So in August, I have created a module around allergies, histamine response, skin sensitivity, digestive issues that are all connected to a histamine sensitivity, which so many women are experiencing. And in this module, we are doing nothing but talking about and giving you specific action steps that you can take in order to slow down the allergic reaction in your body to seasonal allergies, to environmental triggers that really keeps you stuck in this level of inflammation that that takes away your joy from your days in the summertime because you're not able to even go outside very much, or you have skin sensitivities that really keep you stuck on social outings, and that just really so frustrating because your skin itches so much and things like that. So histamine is something that we're discussing in August, and I have this opportunity for you to join us for $39 only. In September, we are actually going to be going into the cortisol response, which is, if not one of the most important things that you can do for your Hashimoto's, to try to get your cortisol in rhythm. So we're going to be talking more about that in September. So join us for that. You can join us anytime. It comes with a meal plan. It comes with lessons. It comes with worksheets. It comes with food lists. So it's a wholesome month of antihistamine implementation that you can start to do in order to get rid of your allergies and your skin, your eczema and your skin issues that you might be having in relation to histamine. So those two things I just wanted to announce here before we get into the workshop. All right, everybody. So bring out not your worksheets, but your notebook and your pen. We are going to be starting to go into the material. So the point here is, so the overall theme of this workshop is creating habits without the hustle. You don't want to create another layer of stress for you, in order to implement certain action steps that help your health move forward, as well as we're talking about certain perspective changes on Hashimoto's. So, one of the biggest reasons that people avoid doing this important internal work, which it really is, creating habits or perspective changes, is that a lot of women are recognizing that if they heal themselves or starting to feel better, their lives will actually change, right? And sometimes drastically. So their identity will change, the way they go through life will change, the way that you will go through life will change. It definitely has for me. And if these ladies come to terms with how unhappy they are, that means that they will have to temporarily be more uncomfortable. They will have to be more scared while they are starting all over. So it's really, the thing is that when you are starting to think about this work, the perspective changes and the habit creation, what you're doing is you're creating a new life, right? And your new life is going to cost you your old life. And sometimes that can be really intimidating. That can feel really intimidating because it really pushes you outside of your comfort zone. And so you subconsciously start to retract. So you're stepping backwards into your little shell that I explained earlier. At least that was the case for me. Because if you are starting to think about or visualize you as a healthy person, being able to do all the things that you want to do in your life, but now all of a sudden you have the possibility, or the ability of doing these things, everything changes. Like, you're actually doing these things you would like to do, and that might be off putting to some of your closest family members, or maybe some of your friends, or your work environment, because you are starting to become a different person. And sometimes this is really where I think the self-sabotage comes in, when you are starting to find excuses, to keep yourself where you are at. that's when that's when you are starting to tell yourself things such as, right now it's just not the right time to do work on myself or to start creating new habits because maybe I'm too busy, or I'm just going to wait until I feel a little bit better so that I have the energy to actually work on these things, right? Because you might be feeling so fatigued, which is so common, and that was my case as well. And all of these things that I'm mentioning here is actually what I have been experiencing when I was in the midst of my Hashimoto's symptoms. Um, I told myself it right now it's just not the right time to look after myself and start to making changes because I have two girls under the age of 3. Like, how can I even realistically look after myself if I have to look after my family first? Right? So I was pushing it off. Or sometimes we feel so busy at work that we're thinking maybe when the work slows down a little bit for us, then is a good time to start to look after ourselves, right? So that you can focus on yourself without distractions, right? So I was also really big on procrastination. Procrastination was one of the major pet peeves I was dealing with, and I see that in so many women with Hashimoto's. I was basically telling myself that my days are so packed with responsibilities and errands that I am just not having the time right now. I have to wait until a better time for me to make space for myself, whether that was the fall or spring or next year or even way in the future when my girls are a little bit older and understand more that mommy has to take some time for herself, or when I was going down maybe in part-time in my job, then I will start to make changes. So let me know in the comments if this sounds familiar to you, if the procrastination is something that keeps you a little bit stuck in where you're at right now. But then at the same time, um, it's almost like subconsciously you're stepping back from these changes, and then at the same time you feel frustrated and you feel sad and emotional that you're not going for those changes, and that then you feel as if you know you are you have been dealt the wrong card in your life, and you feel it's so unfair that you have to deal with these things when others around you don't have to think about it twice. They can just do whatever they want, and you have to wait, right? So we get into that cycle, and the cycle of procrastination, and then feeling bad about ourselves, and it's really it's a habit forming cycle. So that was the case for me. Um, the thing is that it doesn't work that way. So it is when it comes to making time for yourself or waiting for a better time to look after yourself or to start creating habits. It doesn't work that way. It is really incredible to observe that even when you go down from working full time, let's say, to becoming a stay at home mom or staying home full time or even part time, right? Because of your energy. I know a lot of women can't go to work full time because they simply don't have the energy to do that. And so, even if you're reducing your full time to staying home, you can very easily still end up running out of time just in order to start creating new habits and a new mindset. So often, the time that you think you have is being sucked up with errands and other things that you are prioritizing over yourself, right? So let me know if that resonates with you. Um, and that is really something I'm gonna honing in on that a little bit in a second, a little bit more on how you can step out of this whole concept. Just want to say that if you know that change needs to be made in your life, and You know that. You know that subconsciously. You feel it in your gut. You feel that the way that you are doing things right now, nutritionally, from a lifestyle perspective, from a mindset perspective, sleep rhythm, sleep habits, morning routines, all these things, if you know that changes need to be made to these areas in your life, it is completely okay if you are far away from your goal or if you cannot even yet conceive how you will get to that goal. You do not have to be in a you don't have to be in a place where you feel a little bit better, meaning being closer to your goal that you're setting yourself in order to get started. You can get started every day. Every single morning that you wake up in your life is a new day, gives you new opportunities. It's okay to start at the beginning. And oftentimes, I actually see that women are starting, when they're starting on their health journey, they actually have hit rock bottom. And that is very often where they begin. We don't want to begin there, right? So this is my intention here for you guys, to come to realize: do not hit rock bottom, right? You can start every day with making changes, but rock bottom is oftentimes where people begin, where there's literally no other way out anymore. They have hit it and there's no more procrastination that can go on. And that was literally the case for me when I then really had to, like, I had no other opportunity. I could not procrastinate anymore. I had to do something, right? And the thing is that if you there's a saying that I really like, and it goes: if you don't make time for your health every day, then health will not make time for you, whether that is today, tomorrow, or next year. So you really have to start to make time for your health. Okay, so this is really, really important. So now let's talk a little bit about the two concepts I want to cover today: perspective changes and then habit changes. Okay, I'm going to give you practical tips, and on how you can start to do this when it comes to habit changes. But in order for us to really take that seriously and put some effort and positive intention into our habit changes that can help us move out of our inflammation, we have to start thinking about our perspective and our mindset on our Hashimoto's diagnosis. There's two parts to this perspective thing that I want to cover with you guys today, and I encourage you to let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Okay, and if you have any questions, because this workshop is for you, and I really want to make sure that you are getting your questions answered. The first thing is the concept of time. I want to talk a little bit more about, and the second, the second point to this, to the perspective thing, is: how do you currently see yourself within the Hashimoto's diagnosis? Okay, so let's talk about the concept of time. I want you to think about this. So, when you tell yourself you don't have time to make changes for your health, how does that belief shape or limit the choices that you can make each day? Okay, so when you tell yourself you don't have time to make changes for your health, how does this shape the choices that you make every day? How might that very thought be starting to stand in the way of you feeling your best? So in the comments, if you want to, Um, think about this and write down how you feel about this, how you see yourself on a daily basis, thinking that you don't have time for certain activities. How are your choices then being directed? As I continue, you can do that you can put that in the chat if you like. So the very first lesson that I had to learn when I was diagnosed with my Hashimoto's many, many years ago was that time is always present. Time is always there. It's how we shape our time is what matters. How we section it throughout our lives and days is what matters. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to take a sip here. I was very much stuck in the mindset of hustle. A lot of errands, a lot of responsibilities, a lot of chores that I had to finish on a daily basis. And I would put my self-identity, I would stick my self-identity on what I achieve when it comes to checking these things off throughout the day. I would often say that I don't have time to spend 5 minutes on just being by myself and, let's say, whatever it is, journaling, or just do nothing even. Like, even just the fact of doing nothing would send shivers down my spine because I didn't feel as if I was being productive, and it was something that was against my feeling of worthiness. So I often said I don't have time, but the truth is that time is the same for everybody. It's always present, like it's ongoing, it flows steadily. We have 24 hours every day, and that's the same for everyone. Time is the one thing that everyone has the same of, right? That was a huge mind shift for me. Time is the one thing that everybody has the same of. Not money, not status, but time. The difference between feeling in control or feeling overwhelmed is not the amount of time we have, but how we choose to section and direct the time. So I want you to know, and you can write this down, time is neutral. And by the way, as I'm going through these steps, I have these worksheets available. So if you want the layout of these steps in writing, please let me know. I can definitely make it available to you. So time is neutral. It's not biased, right? It doesn't speed up and it doesn't slow down for anyone. That is your perception of time. But what changes is our relationship with it. So when we believe that time is scarce, we start to treat it like an enemy, right? So we are starting to fight against it. We are starting to try to put as many tasks into this time space so that we can get as much done as possible, right? Because we might be running out of time. But when we see it as abundant, we begin to use it more intentionally. So sometimes it is us stepping back and doing less than trying to do more. And that is what also is really important when it comes to habits, right? We don't want to fill our time that we have with more and more and more positive habits that feel like a list of chores that we have to check off in order to heal ourselves. Sometimes we have to do less more intentionally, if that makes sense. Okay, so another thing is that another point here when it comes to time is that your energy shapes your time, right? So when you think about it, not all hours of your day are created equally or feel the same, right? The same hour of time can sometimes feel very productive and energizing, or it can also feel wasted and draining. And that is really depending on what we put in that time. And it also aligns with your with your ability of having energy throughout the day. It aligns your most important, so aligning your most important health actions with your highest energy times of the day can be extremely helpful. So when you think about you are with your Hashimoto's energy, which for a lot of us in this group is limited. We have a limited amount of energy if inflammation is consistently raging in our bodies. The main goal, of course, is to bring down the inflammation, to realign your body and body systems so that you have consistent all day energy, which is, by the way, possible, right? It is possible. However, in the beginning, you don't know how to get there, and that's okay. That's your goal. You want to create the energy long term. But how can you do certain action steps now, knowing that your energy is limited? You can pick the time of the day where you feel the most alert and the most focused on picking certain activities. So if you feel that your energy at the end of the day is crashing, right? That you are done, you can't even lift a finger anymore. And then you're pushing yourselves to get the dishes done, to push it and push and push it, you are pushing yourself into burnout. So, shaping your time around your energy is very important. If you know that doing the dishes at the end of or cleaning the house at the end of the day is going to affect your level of energy, then don't do it during that time. Know it, own it, and shift it to a different time of the day. Even if that means that some dishes or are being left until the next morning in the sink, rinsed, it's okay. You wouldn't believe, and even if that means that you might have to, have a conversation with your family around this, that this is what I had to do in the beginning. I literally had to sit down with my husband and talk to him about this and say, listen, my energy levels come five o'clock, I was dead, right? So I was I wasn't able to do much more, but I was pushing myself and I was pushing myself into adrenal burnout doing these things, all the chores in the house, right? That I didn't have time prior because I was looking after two little girls and kids at home. I literally had to have a conversation with my husband saying, this is where I'm at right now. I don't want to be in this position long term. I'm having my goals that I want to move out of this situation. But at this moment in time, I need your help. Like, I cannot do dishes at 6 o'clock. I need to go to bed. Right? Or I can't fold the laundry at the end of the day. I need your help. I can't do it physically. So it's really starting to set those boundaries around the energy that shapes your time. Okay? So really, really important. Let me know if that resonates with you and if that helps you to realize, okay, even when you are having this lack of energy, you still have time to do certain things in a certain way. And sometimes you need to shift those activities to a different time. Okay? The next thing I was going to mention is that when it comes to time, Small sections create big shifts. So what I oftentimes see when I work with women or have conversations with women is that oftentimes women are very eager to make changes and to feel their personal best. They feel exhilarated, they feel motivated, they feel, yes, I really want to feel better, I really want to make a change. But then they're realizing that they can't seem to find, quote unquote, find the right time to do certain habits for themselves, such as exercise, such as cooking, such as preparing nutritious meals, meal prepping, meal planning, just time for themselves to wind down. Um, these are the things that I'm talking about. And so then when they're realizing when it comes to the nitty gritty of how am I going to be incorporating this into my day, they think they have to wait for this big block of time that might be showing up in their lives. But then this big block of time never comes, right? It just never comes, whether that is in the fall when the kids go back to school, then I have this big block of time. Or when like when I maybe go down in working hours, go down to part time, then I have this big block of time, or whatever it is. But I can tell you that big block of time never comes. But carving out small, consistent pockets can be the start, the beginning of you utilizing and sectioning that time that is neutral, that everybody has the same of, for yourself, right? So, what I mean by that is you don't have to start big. Like I said, if you want to start a workout routine for yourself, you don't have to start big. You don't have to go sign up for a 1 hour class, 3 times a week. That is, you think it's pushing you and it's motivating you and it gets you going. Sometimes it's too much. 10 minutes for a walk, starting to move your body slowly in a way that feels non-intrusive, in a way that almost feels as if it's something that you can do easily, almost too easy, is the way to go. That is the way to go. You don't have to start big, right? You don't have to come up with a whole plan, with a whole protocol, with check marks that you tick off. Small sections create big shifts. Small sections of time. 5 minutes of deep breathing. 15 minutes of to prep your nourishing food. And all of these small slices of time, they add up and they remove the all or nothing pressure, if that makes sense. A lot of women get stuck in the all or nothing pressure. You start something up, you're excited, you go all in. Sometimes I see that with women who are actually also starting to work with me in my program. They're motivated, they want to do it all, they want to get better, they have really good intentions, but then they are putting so much pressure on themselves. They want to go all in, they want to do all or nothing, and that is when they fall off track. And that is where I come in and I'll have to pull them back in, right? And I have to tell them, do not feel as if you are, not doing enough if you're doing little small steps, because that is the way you build a strong foundation. One last thing I want to mention about time is that you are the architect of your time. So think of time, or think of your day like a house. Okay, so think of it as a house. So you have walls in a house. The walls are fixed. You have 24 hours a day. Everybody has the same neutral 24 hours a day. Those are the walls of your house. They don't change. They're always ever present. However, you decide the layout of your house. You can fill your house with what moves you towards better health or your time, or you let it overflow with things that drain you. It's up to you. So I have a question for you guys. If you want to answer that question, feel free. I would love for you to participate, whoever watches that in the replays or even live. Here's my question. Looking at how you currently spend your day, what small section of time could you realistically reclaim or redesign to prioritize your health? What is one simple change that you can commit to this week? Right? How do you perceive your time? How do you currently spend your day? And is there one small section of time that you could possibly reclaim? Right? Whether that is a 5-minute breathing exercise in the morning, whether that is a 5-minute sitting by yourself listening to music, or putting on some essential oil diffuser and just breathing in the essential oil diffuser at the end of the day. Right? You are creating your house. You're creating your days. Okay, so this was the first section I wanted to go over with you when it comes to perspective. So in terms of time, really change your perspective on the time that you have. I know that was a little bit of a long stretch here, but I think it's really, really important for us to understand and realize this part. So this session will be a little bit longer. I'm just going to give you the heads up. I have a lot to share with you, so you can come back to this anytime and go through it anytime. The second part of the whole perspective change when it comes to Hashimoto's is your self-perception. How do you perceive yourself now that you have this diagnosis? What identity have you taken on in relation to this diagnosis? Right? And for those of you guys in here who actually have children with a diagnosed Hashimoto's diagnosis, this is something that you can sit down with and chat about with your child. And I know that Janelle is here watching. Janelle actually has 3 kids with Hashimoto's. So for all of these ladies in here, all of you women, ladies in here who have kids with Hashimoto's, because I know that we do have a few in here, that is something that you can, work with your child, with your children, and have them realize that they don't have to identify with a diagnosis, right? So ask yourself, do you feel inadequate, right? Do you feel always on guard? Meaning that every symptom that pops up in your life, you're starting to worry over, is that part of my Hashimoto's now, or is that something else, or is that because of my Hashimoto's diagnosis? Do I need to do something about that? Is that something that goes away? Do I need to do something else, right? Or do you feel as if life has been taken away from you? Do you feel it's unfair that you have to deal with this, right? That you have been played this card in your life. These are very emotional questions and which is so important for us to sit with and to tackle, heads on, because if we're not realizing how it's affecting our emotional health, then we won't be able to come up with solutions to help step out of this. Then our emotions are starting to take over all the time, which can be very debilitating. Um, and so here's my take on this. Um, here's something that I had to realize and that I had to work around. I had to step out of the mindset that I was feeling inadequate, different, and always on guard. Um, that was the truth for me. And I had to learn and really start to step into the truth that my body is my greatest ally in my life. And that was really empowering. The thought and the knowledge that with the symptoms that my body is experiencing, my body is actually trying to talk to me. It's my body's language letting me know that something is off. It's not something that my body does in order to hurt me, right? It is body systems that are trying to step in where other body systems are failing. And the underlying reason for that is to keep you safe and to keep you alive. And that is something that I learned in nutrition school. So, everything that I have learned in nutrition school from a mindset perspective is about changing the way I was feeling and thinking about the diagnosis, because up until that point I felt like a victim. I felt unfairly dealt by life with something that I wasn't prepared to have. I felt inadequate. I felt different. I just felt very unhappy. And so, really understanding that you can start to have the power in making those changes in your body that can realign your health by listening to your body, by understanding the symptoms. And that is something I learned in nutrition school, and that is something that I'm trying to do here in little bite-sized you know uh, information for you to connect with your symptoms and your Hashimoto's, like what symptoms are related to Hashimoto's in terms of inflammation, and what can you do in order to get your body out of it. And this is also then where habits come in, which we'll talk about next, right? But that is number one, really important. Know that you were given this life here with a purpose. Everybody has a purpose in this life, and you are here because you have so many things that you can share with this world, and your body right now needs you, and it needs you to take care of it. And it's actually our responsibility to support this vessel called body. When you step out of this perspective of, I don't want to call it victim because that's not really what it is, but of feeling let down, right? And feeling sad that you have to deal with this scenario right now. If you step into thinking about, okay, my body is trying to keep me safe on a daily basis, that is why I'm having all of these symptoms, because my body systems are dysregulated. What can I do? It's my responsibility to now help my body get better every day, right? Because every day your body works to protect you, and it speaks to you through symptoms. It's not to punish you, it's guide you towards what it needs so that you can then rise up and help it thrive. So that is the first perspective change that I had to make. And I learned that in nutrition school. And I learned that because it gave me the actual tangible tools and the understanding of how body systems work. Because a lot of this feeling of feeling of feeling different and frustration, overwhelm comes from not understanding how the body works and what we can do. So once you have that, you can then step into taking care of your body and help it thrive. And this thriving might look a little bit different than you would have hoped for. Okay? And that is another thing you might want to think about, because the thriving might have been a completely different vision that you had for your life. And it's very easy to get caught up in emotions that drag you down, because certain things you might not be able to do the way that you want them to do. So for me personally, for example, to drive that home a little bit more, is exercise and workouts. So workout and exercise is very important for me, because for me it's almost like it's very important for my mental health. It keeps me out of, back in the days, it kept me out of depression. I was very easily somebody whose emotions would take over, and I would go down that rabbit hole. And movement and exercise is something that I need to keep my mental health in check. Now, I am somebody, I love, love, love HIIT workouts. It sounds silly, but that's what it is. The all out and the pushing my body to the limit and things like that is something that I was thriving on and really love. However, when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, I knew that from then on forward, um, I this is not the way that my physical health is going to thrive if I am pushing myself to the limit every single time. And I was doing CrossFit for a little while, and it really actually pushed me into adrenal burnout, which I realized. And so I was very it was very sad for me to not be able to do this kind of workout anymore. And it took me some time to find ways that can really to replace that type of workout with something else that was just as satisfying to me, and really, helping me to still feel, get the mental health aspect. So I created, I was really started. I was looking into different workout schemes and things like that, and it was so frustrating to me because I would start something and then it wouldn't really sit well with me. I didn't enjoy it, and it was felt like a drag. And then I didn't exercise for a long time, and then I felt as if I'm letting my body down, and I felt them, like the sadness come over me again, and things. It was like it's a journey. I'm not gonna lie, it's a journey, right? And so, but knowing that there is a solution, and I always have to try to find something. So I did find that just lifting and body movement in a less way that pushes me to the limit is what I needed. So I do a lot of strength, a lot of body weight lifting and things like that. And I always thought to myself that I am no way that I'm going to be able to put together workouts like that for myself, because I felt inadequate. I'm not a personal trainer. I didn't know whether I was doing it right, so I'd rather not do it. And so overcoming this hurdle of thoughts and emotions again Anyways, I don't want to hone in on that too much here, but that was just something that I had to do for myself. Understanding that this thriving, because now my body is thriving and what I have been creating in terms of exercise and workout, it might look different than you would have hoped for. So Janice says she feels betrayed by her body. Now I realize it's guidance for me. You're here to help me when I was lost. Thank you. If I can help myself, I can also help my daughter to help herself. Wonderful. Yes. So true. And I'm so happy that you're saying that, because um that really hones in on um the point that I made about making time for yourself. Um, we feel guilty that we have to make time for ourselves sometimes. Family members might not understand, or even we feel as if we need too much time. Maybe sometimes we feel a little bit lazy. We are very judgmental when it comes to that. Not understanding and realizing that if you help yourself, only then are you in a position to help others to do the same. Whether that is your family member, again, for those ladies in here who have kids with Hashimoto's, very important to look after yourself too during that stressful time. But yes, you can help others to help themselves, which is such a wonderful gift. And that we should not be diminishing by not looking after, looking after our health. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Um, yeah, so what I was trying to say here is that oftentimes I was letting my emotions take over when I was not feeling well, and I see that happening, and it's just natural. We're human beings, so we have our emotions, and they start to take over, and sometimes it's hard to snap out of it. However, I now have my systems in place, right? So and that takes time, right? And um, it takes, you know, realization and trial and error, and making tiny changes in your lives, and but creating systems, putting systems in place that help you um, get through these times when you think your emotions are taking over, and that is exactly where habits can come in. So I want to now go into creating healthy habits, because habits are basically, when it comes to the house, the habits are putting all of the quality of life pieces into your house. Whether that is because your house cannot just be walls, right? The time that you have, the 24 hours a day, that's not what life is all about. You can waste that time, like you can just sit in your house and be miserable, or you can put in windows, you can decorate it, you can make it nice. And this is what I that's what I see where the habits come in. So the habits are um, basically something that you entertain as a means of quality of life and making your life enjoyable for you, right? And then also, in turn, create health so that you can step out of your comfort zone and that you can do things that you thought were never possible, right? Even though that might make you feel a little bit uneasy because it can change a lot of things. But when you are getting to a point where your life changes dramatically, and you are stepping out of that comfort zone, you feel wow, I if I had only known this, it would have made things so much easier. And that is the thing, when we subconsciously don't know or consciously don't know the outcome, our bodies are always trying to kind of like keep us in a safe, familiar space. So the habits are really those things that make your life enjoyable. And I want to go through some core principles on how to create healthy habits. And also, I do have that as a worksheet. So, if you want that as a worksheet and actually use it on a day to day basis, please reach out. I have it available for you to help you implement these concepts. Okay. Okay. So, I'm going to do a quick sip here. All right. So, the first core principle here is that small habits compound. Again, we talked about that earlier. We don't want to go all in, all out. Um, Maybe it works for some, for most of us, it doesn't. It's about tiny changes that may seem trivial on a day to day basis, but over time they create massive results. Okay. So, and that can be both good or bad. It depends on what you choose. But it's the tiny changes that chisel away on your day to day, right? They have a they are the compound interest of your self improvement. So I mentioned I went through this a little bit earlier. I don't have to repeat myself here. 5 minutes doing something, 10 minutes doing something. The way you are choosing your habits, the way I did it, and that might be different for everybody, but the way I did it is I was actually listening to, and that started when I went to nutrition school. I actually started to listen to my body's symptoms, connecting my symptoms with the imbalances in my body, and then thinking about things, habits, and tools that I can use in order to help reverse those symptoms. So, for example, I was very much constipated for the longest time, which gave me a lot of bloating. I couldn't eat a lot of different types of foods because my digestion was so bad. So that was one habit that I really wanted to implement, is that increases my digestion and helps with my digestion so that it reduces my symptom of chronic bloating that left me really stuck in my house because it was very uncomfortable to go to places. So this is how I chose different areas that I wanted to create new habits around. But that is completely up to you. You can do it in a different way as well. The second core principle when it comes to habits that I found is forget your goals and focus on systems. It's nice to set goals, and we love to set goals. It feels good in our bodies, like it gives us a little bit of a high. It makes us motivated. Oh, this is the big goal that we want to achieve. But when you are so far away from that goal, it's very hard to keep the momentum going and to keep motivation going when you are trying to inch yourself towards that goal without systems. And so the goals may be giving you direction, which is amazing. You can always go back to your goal and say, okay, this is where I'm headed. But systems, so daily actions and processes, really drive the actual progress. Okay, so really keep that in mind. And that is why I really am so passionate about celebrating little wins, small little wins with my clients in my group, or my one on one clients. The small little wins that you might be overlooking are little steps towards the big goal. For example, You have never had a regular bowel movement in your life for many years. And all of a sudden, one day in the week, you go to the bathroom and you're actually having a normal bowel movement. That is a massive change. That is something that is your body again talking to you. Hey, you're doing great. Keep up the good work. I'm actually starting to eliminate body waste that lowers inflammation now, starting to do so. You might not be seeing that as a big thing because you want to go every day, but you need to appreciate that little step that your body is showing you that you're on track, right? So goals give you direction, but systems, so daily actions drive the actual progress. Okay, so think about the actions that you can choose to help with different symptoms in your body. The third one are identity based habits. Okay, so those are systematic actions and processes. The previous one, so the focus on systems. Give me one second. But identity based habits. So I think this is really, really powerful. That was something that I learned later on my journey, which actually catapulted me from one level to the next level. Okay, so you will reach plateaus throughout your healing journey, and little shifts can really help you get to the next level. So, identity based habits, meaning instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, right, which is good, like that's goal oriented, but focus on who you want to become. Or even better, focus on who you are starting to become right now. Not in the future, but right now. So, for example, if you want to run a marathon, if that is your goal, right? Let's just say, instead of you telling yourself, I want to run a marathon, you are saying to yourself, or you think, I'm a runner. That's what I do. I run. So see how that the whole feeling of identity is changing, right? And then every action that you take is a vote for the type of person you want to be. So, for example, if you say, instead of saying, I want to, I want to, let's say, I want to eat as healthy as possible in the future, or I want to be, I want to eat clean, or I want to eat nutritionally. I want to eat whole foods in order to help my body heal. You can say and you can think, I am a person who thrives on whole foods. I am actually eating whole foods every day of my life to make that change so that your body is starting to take on that identity. Okay, so very, very important. Identity based habits, not just thinking what you can become in the future, but pulling that into your presence right now and saying, this is what I am, this is what I do. I eat whole foods, right? Okay, so those are really three core principles to understand around habits. Small habits compound, focus on systems versus goals, and then identity-based habits. So let's cover a little bit how you can build a good habit. Okay? How do you build these habits? Right? So I just had a conversation with somebody in my group, and she says, I know all of these things. Like, I know what I need to do, but I feel like I'm not doing it. It just becomes another responsibility, right? So, how do you build a good habit? So there's a few different things that, like four different points that I want to hone in on so that you can become really aware of how you create that for yourself. The first one is make it obvious, create a cue. Okay, so strong habits form with not with willpower. There's no way that willpower can ever create a habit for you. Um, they are more easily obtained if you design your environment so that the habit cue is visible and easy to notice. Make it easy for you, right? So, for example, use habit stacking. Pair a new habit with an existing one. So, I'll give you one example. For example, in my group, we're talking about detoxification, right? So we're specifically talking about the lymphatic system, which is your garbage removal, your waste removal system. You want to support your lymphatic system. Instead of listing all the things that you can do, dry brushing, tongue scraping, rebounding, all of these things, think about what is the easiest way of you to start with one habit that you can attach to an old habit that helps your lymph to flow. So, for example, I suggested to one lady in my group, or to everybody in my group, that when you go to the bathroom in the morning and you start brushing your teeth, that is something that you do every day. What you can do at the same time, you go on your tippy toes and you move your body up and down. You are just like, as you're brushing, you're moving your body up and down. That helps to start the lymph to flow. It's the whole up and down motion. It strengthens your calves also, by the way, which is very, it helps longevity, believe it or not, if you're strengthening your legs. But yeah, this is one action which has a compounding effect if you do it every day. And there's nothing to it. You just have to do it. You just have to remember to do it as you're brushing your teeth. So make it obvious, okay? Same thing, for example, if you want to start your day on a glass of lemon water, right? So make it easy. Lemon water, really good for your detoxification in the morning, for your liver. If you have fatty liver, if you have liver issues, if you have detoxification issues, if you have constipation, the glass of lemon water can be so helpful to get you started. How do you do that? You forget, right? So you go in the kitchen and instead of you putting on the coffee machine and things like that, prepare the glass of lemon water before you go to bed. Put it on your nightstand, put the lemon in it, right? It's like you will have the effect of the stronger lemon, even because it has been sitting in that water and extracting its properties in the water, and the water is not cold. It's actually room temperature, which makes it really nice to absorb for your body. Have it on your nightstand because you're likely taking your thyroid medication first thing in the morning. Take it with the lemon water. Make it obvious, right? Attach it to an old habit. Okay. The second one is make it attractive, right? So bundle habits with things that you enjoy. Okay. So, for example, you can join communities where your desired behavior is a norm. That is why, a lot of you guys are here in this group too, is because you're part of a community, you're part of a network where, behaviors that are maybe not present in your day to day right now are the norm. So it makes it less weird in a way, or foreign to start certain habits, right? Or bundle habits with things that you enjoy, right? So for example, if you have dogs or if you have animals, especially dogs, of course, is if you have a dog and you know that workouts are really really important for you, and for moving your body as well as going outside, make it a habit to go outside with your dog every day, right? And that brings you joy because you see the joy on your dog's face. And even if you're not able to walk your dog yet because you don't have the energy, um, still go outside with your dog. Just go down the driveway, go in the backyard, and let your dog have his bowel movement, and you can just like enjoy the outside and breathe in the air. Make it really attractive to you, so that you can create that habit of moving your body and going outside first thing in the morning. That can really help to reset your circadian rhythm. The next one is make it easy. So reduce friction. Starts with habits that are small, so they're really hard to say no to, right? Um, and then really focus on showing up before optimizing them. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to do them. So reduce friction. Um, for example, so when you, for example, have habits, you know, um, so small that they're hard to say no to, is you don't have to, let's say, prepare a full on Instagram worthy nutritious meal that you can show off to everybody, right? It's not the point. Think about what you can do in order to increase the amount of colors in your meals, right? So colors being so important to increase because of all the antioxidants that can help inflammation, to quench inflammation in the body. Look at your plate and see how many different types of colors do I actually eat in one meal setting. Right? Is it just one color? Like, do I maybe just have a little bit of rice, and then maybe I'd have some sweet potatoes that are orange, and then maybe I have some chicken. So that is really beige, beige, and then we have the orange for the sweet potatoes. So, how can you add one more thing with a little bit more color? Maybe you can saute some spinach, or maybe you can do some broccoli to add some green into it. And so then really make it easy, and take note of color counting and increase the colors on a day-to-day basis, right? And then just show up for yourself and do it before optimizing and really starting to get into the whole meal balancing rhythm and game. The way that I teach it in my with my clients, just start slowly with something so that you reduce the friction of eating more whole foods. Okay. And then the last one is make it satisfying, right? So use immediate rewards to reinforce those habits. So, for me personally, I like to use habit trackers for instant satisfaction. I know that I'm very driven by rewards and satisfaction, and things like that. But you can just also, you can ask family members for accountability, and you can ask them to really just cheer you on as you are creating these changes every day, and as they watch you make those changes. That can be very rewarding, to have somebody else really support you on that journey. Okay. All right. So, those are just some ideas on how you can build a good habit. Um, I just quickly want to go over some of the key insights when it comes to habit creation, and then we are practically done with this session. Thank you for hanging in here. I know it's been a long session, but I think it's really, really important information that I'm sharing, and I hope that it helps you. So there's 4 key insights here by the end of the session that I want you to take away. Environment is more important than willpower. Okay, so your surroundings should really shape your behavior more than discipline. Discipline is going to get you started. The shaping of your environment keeps you going. All right, really, really important. Number 2, start tiny and grow naturally. Don't try to make that big jump from starting out, maybe even rock bottom, to the goal that you're setting. You will fall off track, for sure. Start tiny. Success comes from consistency, not those heroic bursts of effort that I see so often women fall into. And I was the same. Like, I'm still a little bit like this, that when I want to achieve something, I try to get there ASAP, trying to hustle through the things. But I have learned over the course of many years that this is not the way that it goes. Those bursts of effort just leave you with a lack of energy and nothing to show for. So come up with a system, start tiny, and then grow naturally. And it's so much more enjoyable too. Like, you learn so many things on the way. You're changing your perspective on the way. It's almost like a joyful journey that you're going into. The third key insight here is focus on trajectory, not perfection. Okay, so it's okay if you have the chips. It's okay. It's not going to kill you to have a bag of chips, right? Don't beat yourself up over it if you have a muffin, if you have a donut even, or whatever from a nutrition standpoint. It's all right. So the only problem is you still have to focus on the trajectory of this. Doing it once is totally fine. However, doing it twice, 3 times, 4 times in a week, that starts a downward spiral. Okay? So understand that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to become a full-on, perfectionist in every single action that you're taking. But also know that continue to grow these habits, continue to pull yourself back on track with little steps and little systems to keep you on that path, right? And not fall off. Very important. The 4th one is plateauing is normal. Plateauing is normal. The valley of disappointment, I call it, right? Is when you have been seeing some results, and then all of a sudden when the results are starting to lag behind the effort. And that is oftentimes, and I can only say that from my experience and from what I've seen in my practice, is that when you're hitting these plateaus, you keep putting in the effort, and the results are lagging behind, is when you keep going, you will jump to the next plateau very quickly. So the plateauing is almost like your body is adjusting. It's kind of like hanging in there. It's strengthening. It's becoming more resilient. And if you keep putting in the good work, then your body is preparing for the jump up. I've seen it over and over again in my own life and in my clients' lives. And that is oftentimes when people are giving up, when people are saying it's just not working for me. And then they're giving up and then they're backtracking. So know that plateaus are normal, but also understand if you are plateauing for too long and you're not seeing any changes happening, then it's time to look at maybe what you're not doing right. Maybe you need to shift things up. Maybe you need to put in work in a little bit of a different way. Okay. And the last key insight I really want to bring across today is that feedback loops drive change. Okay, so whether that is rewards, whether that is immediate cues, little wins, you know, they really cement those habits faster than all the distant ones that you want to achieve. So the small wins are very important to celebrate. Every small win, every single thing that is changing on your health journey, in your health, the way you feel, is something to be celebrated because it's a feedback loop that drives continuous positive change. So when you're doing that on your own for yourself, sometimes it's really hard to create those rewards or see the immediate little wins. What I have been doing on my journey is that I actually started to journal every day with a few notes on how I was feeling that day. The level of my bloating, the level of my joint pain, the sleep quality that I had, and things like that. And then I would just record it very quickly every day as I was working on my health. And then I would take some time by the end of the month and I would look back. And so then I would see the trajectory of what my body has been achieving, like the changes that I have been experiencing. It's mind blowing, it's mind opening. And so I do that in my group with my clients. Like I do food journal audits almost, and bowel movement audits, right? Where we jot down how many bowel movements are coming in a great way and things like that, to really see those little immediate small wins and the rewards that are coming from you putting in the action. Let me just see if there's anything else here in the comments that I missed. No. Okay. Okay. So yes, so those are my key insights, my key takeaways. All right, everybody. So I have actually come to the end of this workshop. We talked a lot about perspective changes and habit creation. I hope this message was really helpful for you. Please do let me know if you want the worksheets to actually use this information and put it into action. Let me know. I'm happy to share. Yes, Janelle is commenting, acknowledge your accomplishments, take one step at a time, give yourself credit for all the wins. Exactly. And yeah, so let me know if you want the worksheets, and let me know how things are progressing for you. And do know that we are having a month of September. We are actually talking about cortisol rhythm in my membership. So really understanding how the cortisol response is such a key factor in you're not sleeping very well. And all of the inflammatory triggers in your body. So it's going to be all about cortisol, A super, super important topic. I'll talk more about that in the group as well. In August, we're talking about the histamine response. So, everybody here with skin issues, allergic reactions, seasonal allergies, things like that, that can be extremely helpful and give you action steps on how to go about creating balance in your body to lower the histamine response. So that's all in the membership. If you want the information, let me know. And then again, we have that one spot available in my group program, group one-on-one program with a August start. If that is something that you're interested in, please let me know. All right, everybody. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you again very soon. Have a great day.